Hello and welcome to a glorious day in the Lake District National Park. Summer has well and truly arrived. We've got our first proper heat wave. It's going to be a really hot day today, pushing up towards 27 degrees according to the forecast. So today I have ventured to the very far north of the national park, and I'm going to be exploring an area of the Northern Fells that I've never been to before. So I'm really excited. We've got ourselves about a 13-kilometre route with just over 700 metres of elevation, and I've just parked the car down in a little lay-by in Longlands, which is a very, very small little cluster of houses. It's not a village or anything. There's not really much going on up here. It is absolutely beautiful though. It really feels a little bit like the Peak District here. It's a bit more sort of rolling hills in this area of the national park. There's not going to be much sort of technical craggy ground like there is in much of the national park. So I'm quite excited for a bit of a change of scenery really. I'm still struggling with my back a little bit, so I think the rolling hills are going to be a lot better for me today compared to other areas of the national park. It's absolutely gorgeous today, so really excited to be out. Feeling very lucky to have a day off work today, so I get to enjoy one of the heat wave days. Supposed to stick around for the next 4 days or so, and I'm in work for the next 3 days after today. So yeah, really excited to show you all this part of the national park as well. So we're heading up to Longlands Fell, which will be the first rain route of the day, then on to Bray Fell, and then I'll probably have a catch up with you just before Great Scarfell. It might not be quite as great as the other Scarfell, which is the highest mountain in England, but who knows? And as always, I'll show you the beautiful views. What a day in the Lake District. Okay, so I've just done Bray Fell and we're just walking over towards Great Scarfell now, which is just over there. I've absolutely loved this route so far. I've seen one person and yeah, it's just so peaceful and relaxing around here. And honestly, it's just the easiest going terrain as well. It's lovely sort of grassy paths. And we've had quite a lot of rain recently and it doesn't seem to be too boggy so far. I might have just jinxed myself there for later on, but really lovely. That is the best way to describe this walk so far. Chuffing lovely. So we're coming up to 4 kilometres in. We've done over half of the climbing and elevation now. The views so far have been stunning anyway. We can see all the way out to the sea very clearly today. And we can see quite far into Scotland as well. There isn't a breath of wind up here, which is a slight downside because it is absolutely roasting. I've been sweating buckets. I feel like I've got no energy at all. It's really weird. The heat just does that to me. It kind of melts me a bit. So my legs feel a bit like jelly today. So we've been going at a really nice, steady pace. But I'm not going to complain because I've been up on the Northern Fells many a time before where it's been blowing an absolute hoolie. And yeah, it can be pretty brutal in this part because we've got the coast right over there and it just, yeah, hits the Northern Fells first. Directly in front of us to our right, you can see Skiddaw, which is the highest summit in the Northern Fells region. I think I've done one video going up Skiddaw, although in the past 3 or 4 years, I think I've summited it maybe 3 or 4 times. Me and Hev have done a couple of runs up there, and we went up in the snow actually, and I didn't take the camera out when we did that, but that was a crazy day out. We're in snow up to our waist. As I mentioned in my last video, I've been really struggling with my back recently, and this sort of terrain is very bad back friendly. So yeah, if you're like me and you've got a glass back, then this is a really good route because it has just been really nice and gentle rolling hills. It's been great so far. Got about a couple 100 meters till the summit of Great Scarfell. I tell you what, I just caught myself out there not looking at the map properly. I'm going to call myself out. I thought that was Great Scarfell. It's in fact Little Scarfell. Lack of concentration. Great Scarfell is just up there, so easy mistake. There was a big cairn on top and I couldn't see the little summit to the left of it when I was walking over from Fell, so easily done. But yeah, if you're doing this walk, there's a little false summit going up to Great Scarfell. Very, very nearly had my lunch stop on the wrong summit there. That would have been a rookie error. Kind of heartbreaking because I'm really hungry and I've been looking at that summit for the past half an hour or so, dreaming of my not so inspiring lunch. So yeah, we're going to summit Great Scarfell, and then we've got a short out and back to the next way and right, which is called Knot. Okay, so I've made it up to Knot. You can see the back end of Blencathra from over here. Look down the valley all the way over to the eastern fells. That's the Helvellyn range over there. And then this is Skiddaw just here. I've done lots of exploring around there over the past few years. So I decided to carry on from Great Scarfell all the way up to Knot, which is the highest summit of the day, sitting just over 700 meters. And the view from Knot, as you'll have seen from the drone footage, is easily the best view of the day. You get an awesome 360-degree view. The best part is looking over to the rest of the Northern Fells, over to Blencathra, Skiddaw. It looks absolutely awesome from here. So I had a little lunch break there and then started getting eaten alive by bugs. So yeah, we're gonna crack on. Also, it's about 2 p.m. now and it's really starting to heat up. There's a little bit more of a breeze up here, which is nice, but when I sat down there, it was very calm and started to feel like I was being cooked a little bit. That's the 4th wainwright of the 6 we are doing today. And I'm now heading back down towards Great Scarfell. It's about 1 kilometre out and back to Bag Knot on this route. And from there, we'll head over to Meal Fell, which will be our 5th wainwright of the day. And then we're heading over to the best one of the day, purely because of its name. We're heading over to Great Cockup. What a fantastic name for a fell. And that will be our final one of the day. Past the halfway mark, Knot was pretty much bang on halfway. And we've done a lot of the ascent now. I think we've got about 100 metres left of climbing to do. I think there's a bit of a climb to get up to Great Cockup. Brilliant stop for a lunch break. So if you're planning on doing this route, I would hold off from Great Scarfell and continue up to Knot, spelt K-N-O-T-T. And yeah, that's where I would recommend your lunch break, because you have an awesome view looking over to Skiddaw, Blencathra, down the valley. We've got about 5k left now, and I'll probably catch up with you when I'm coming off Great Cockup back down to the car for a final little chat. And yeah, hopefully you can enjoy the final views of the day. So I'm coming towards the end of my route now. I've got about 1 kilometre left. We've descended down into the small little valley. Great Cockup, so it's just there, and that's the last wainwright we just went up. And it has to be said that that was probably the second best view of the day, looking over towards Skiddaw. The view at Knot just pipped it because you could see Blencathra as well. Great way to end the route. I'm really not a fan of doing too many out and backs, but the ones that were in the route today weren't too bad. So that last climb definitely finished me off a little bit, and we've well and truly deserved an ice cream after today's walk. I think that's what I've been fixated on for the past hour or so. A nice ice cream and a can of something cold and fizzy. I can't wait for it. So we're coming up to the 12k mark now, so like I said at the beginning, We should finish around 13 kilometers. It's been a fantastic route and it has definitely exceeded my expectations. When I was driving up here this morning, I was slightly and ahhing whether I should make a video today. I didn't really know what it was going to be like around here, but it has been an absolute pleasure being in the Northern Fells on a day like today. The views were absolutely stunning, very different to many other parts of the lake. Some of my favourite places in the lake, such as like around the Langdales and Crinkle Crags, Bowfell, all around there, where it's dramatic and craggy, and yeah, you've got big rocks and mountains look a little bit more threatening. However, I still absolutely love this sort of terrain, rolling hills. It reminds me a bit more of the Peak District, which has a very special place in my heart. If you've been watching the channel for a while, that's where I used to live and that's where my YouTube channel begun. So it was kind of like being back home today, which was really nice. And yeah, I highly recommend doing this route. And I think it would be a fantastic one to do on a summer's day like today. The rest of the national park, when I was driving through it, was absolutely rammed. I was stuck in traffic in Ambleside, and it'll be really busy on some of the hills today. It'll be a nightmare to find parking and it'll just be very busy. So I think coming up to the Northern Fells on a day like today is just a perfect way to maybe escape the crowd. And if you like a bit of a quieter walk or something a bit more gentle, then this is fantastic. And yeah, I really do highly recommend it. I'm hoping the footage I've got today does kind of do it justice, because yeah, I would love some of you guys to check it out for yourselves if you've never been up here before. And I would maybe avoid this area if the weather's bad. I can imagine it being very boggy and it's very exposed up here, so it would be a bit of a crazy day out, I think, if the weather was bad. But on a day like today, it has been really, really nice. What I'll do is I'll leave this route in the description. It's a little bit higgledy-piggledy. There's a couple of out and backs. You could definitely tweak it and shorten it or make it longer, whatever you wanted to do. But I'll leave a rough sort of route of what I've done today, and then yeah, you can have a play with that yourselves if you're wanting to do it. So I'll leave the link to that, which will take you to the OS Maps website. And yeah, you can download the GPX from there if you subscribe to OS Maps, which I just highly recommend doing because it's a really good feature. I have my OS Maps routes downloaded on my phone before I go out anywhere, and it's basically just a backup. Always have my paper map as well, but yeah, the GPS is very accurate. Obviously you can't solely rely on that. If phone battery dies, phone gets wet, something happens to it, you'd be in a spot of trouble, so you should always have a paper map as well. Anyway, thank you so much for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope wherever you are in the country or world, you managed to enjoy some sunshine this week. And I know this heat wave is supposed to be far worse down south, so hopefully it wasn't too hot for you all. And you know what it's like in the UK, it'll be raining, potentially snowing next week, so make the most of it whilst you can. Thank you for all of the continued support. Had a lot of love on the videos recently, and I've been getting some really lovely messages on Instagram, and the comments section is just full of really nice messages, so thank you very much. I do really appreciate it. And yeah, we will be out on another adventure next week. I don't know where it'll be, but it'll be somewhere nice, because it's hard to find somewhere that isn't nice in the Lake District. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. Cheers.